Y'all, so today we're gonna try and get this old 68 Jeep Wagoneer started. It's been sitting here for about a year now, and I actually did a revival on it and rescued it from the grave about 5 or 6 years ago. That's how long I've owned it, and I drove it for a while, and then the timing set failed and it skipped a tooth on the chain. I replaced all of that, and I was driving it. Then I just went off to college and stuff, and so it's just been sitting here for about a year. So we'll do a revival and see if we can get her to run. Let's see what we have. I haven't even opened the hood yet to see. I have a battery that's probably dead, some gas, toolbox, and a tool set. We'll see what happens. Alrighty, let's see what we have here. So this is the AMC 360 cubic inch V8, and it's hooked to the GM Turbo 400 automatic transmission. So let's see what happens here. Hook the battery up. Now this Jeep's, it's got some character. It's been worked on over the last 53 years. It's a special type of project. Definitely a unique vehicle. Just a little look at it, you can see the battery strap hold down. It's a special type of deal. When you have a wire to hold down your battery and a piece of fuel line to hold that on, you know you're looking at a good rig. I think I drained the radiator. Yeah, there's nothing in there, so we won't let it run too long. As for oil, yeah, it's got oil. See what the carburetor tells us. I did drain the carburetor completely out of gas before I parked it, so hopefully it stays good. I'm just curious if it has any battery life. Well, the light turned on when we opened the door. And continuing to see how redneck it is. Look at this gas pedal. It tore apart, so it has a door hinge and metal wrapped around it. So that's the type of stuff fixes it has. Okay, so it does have power. We're not going to try and start it quite just yet. Y'all need to look at this. So, the steering box there, where it connects the frame got really busted. So, I did the right thing and took this sheet of metal and just ran a bolt through, and that's how the steering box is hooked on. But I did have the engine and everything running really good before I parked it. It leaked a little bit. Not too bad for a 50-year-old vehicle. Looks like it was the transmission leaking fluid there. When I bumped the starter, it sounded like the engine was gonna spin, not be seized up, so that makes me really happy. Yeah, she's not froze, she turns over. So let's dump some gas down the throat. turn the key and see if she fires. And since it's been sitting for so long, this is some 2-stroke mixed gas. Just get some extra oil in there so we don't ruin the pistons and stuff as fast. Without any lubrication being happened for a year. That should be enough to light a very big fire. I'll give it a little bump, set it down. So she fired off. That's a good sign. That's a good start to anything. Fan clutch needs to be replaced. She's a little loose. Got some power steering. All right, let's go again, see if we can get her to run. She's idling. So, if you look at the side of this Wagoneer, it says it has the 327 V8 in it. This is a 1968 Jeep. Someone did an engine swap and put a 1972 AMC 360 V8 in there. So it's still a Jeep AMC engine, just slightly different. Easier to find parts for, but still really hard to find parts for. You can hear it, it's making some noise in the valve train. Ooh, the carburetor's squirting. Okay, let's shut her off and try and tighten that down. That started up way easier than it ever should have. Goodness. I love this old V8. It did hesitate and stumble there for about 10 seconds when I first fired it up, but it came out of it. You just gotta rev them a little bit, you know? But what I was saying, there's gas squirting out the accelerator pump housing. So, need to tighten down those bolts. Try and get it to stop squirting fuel. After I do that, let's see if she'll drive. Okay, so I just tightened down those 4 bolts on the accelerator pump housing. Just a 1/4-inch socket. And let's turn the key, see if she throws fuel. See if she'll start again. She should. Man, she fires right up so easily. Watch that fuel. There we go. Hey, it's not throwing fuel out everywhere anymore. That was a bad squirt. But this has a new distributor, a new timing set, all new hoses. I rebuilt the carburetor. And this battery has been sitting out of it for a year. Just in a garage. But it held a charge. I was impressed. Let's see if the alternator's charging it though. Going with the redneck style of this Jeep, there's old carpet padding for my seat cushion. And it looks like my alternator is dead. So that's cool, especially since that's a new alternator. It says my right turn signal's on. Get that idle to settle down. I don't know if you can hear that, but the radio just turned on. Factory Jeep radio. Alright, we'll shut her off because I don't have fluid in the radiator. I don't want it to overheat it. But let me put some water in it. I'll get back to you and see if we can get it to drive. This is gonna be great. So I think I found why the alternator wasn't charging. This was so crusty. So this is the alternator wire. And it was so crusty that there's no way it could have charged. But we cleaned her up. Battery terminal brush. And we'll see if the alternator works now. I'm excited to see this. I'm gonna take that as a yes. Look at that. Alternator charge. Fixed it. Next step, coolant in the radiator and drive. Right. We just filled the radiator up. Alternator works. Has fluid in the transmission. I checked the fluid. The oil light comes on. That's impressive. It fires up. Bell squeals. Let's see. Oh, the temperature's climbing up too. Temperature gauge works. Fuel gauge says we're just about out, if that really works. Pumped the brakes a couple times because we don't have any of those probably. It sounded like reverse work. And I just hit the plow, but we're moving. Cranking. Look at this. We're moving. She's alive. We're moving. If I don't sideswipe, the snowmobile trailer will be good. There's the Ranger. I thought the Ranger was gonna have to rescue us and jump us, but nope. Wagoneer says, I'm alive. Sketchy as can be, but it feels like it has brakes. I'm impressed. Take her down the road here. She shifted. It shifts. So it runs, it drives, and it kind of stops. I have to pump the brakes about 7 times, but that's good. The engine feels really good, actually. There's 25 miles an hour, just like that. Here we are. So I just took her for a short trip around, and she's fully warmed up. The idle is so smooth and nice. It is a little noisy. I think that might be an exhaust leak, that clicking noise. The engine runs really, really good. Like, look how smooth it is. I have it tuned just about right, I think. Let me pop this hood. Look how smooth the engine is. You can see it shaking just ever so slightly. It revs. really smoothly. This engine's a runner. Here's a little side view of this Wagoneer. She does have a little rust. It's old, but it's in relatively good shape overall. And this is a pretty yellow color. If you look at my Ranger, that's a cream. You can see cream versus yellow. She runs really good. I've taken the muffler off this in the past, and this old pushrod 60s V8, 70s actually, 72 V8, it just rumbles. It has a really big muffler on it to keep it this quiet. Eventually I'll probably put a little louder, more performance exhaust on it. Give it a couple inch lift, not too aggressive because I like to drive it. And dream would be to reupholster the seat and just redo the interior a little bit. Maybe give the drivetrain a little bit of love. But she runs good. It's been sitting here idling for a while and running for the past 15 or so minutes. The temperature's about perfect. Fuel gauge came alive. No other lights are on. The alternator's sitting charging. The power steering is so light. Like when I'm driving, I can just throw it and she'll just turn. If you've never driven a Wagoneer or a 60s or 70s vehicle, the power steering is a whole nother feel versus today's. It is effortless. Like it just feels nice. And the power on this is just like, it's smooth and thick. It has huge amounts of torque. It's something close to 300 pound-feet of torque. The horsepower is only like 180, 170 new. But the torque makes up for it. When you're driving it, it doesn't have a lack of power. It'll cruise 70 miles an hour easy. I've had it up above 70. It's only a 3-speed transmission, so the engine's screaming at those speeds. And I don't like to go those speeds, but it can. It's really comfortable just cruising around at 50. Endless amounts of power. It'll just climb any hill, pull anything. It's a beast. I love this vehicle. Got these old wing windows. I don't know why the world's gotten rid of these. I love these. They're perfect. But it does have the power window option. The window itself is a little, it'll sometimes roll down, but it won't ever roll back up. And the tailgate needs some work. It doesn't open. Someday I'll do a review and full walk around of this, but for a quick revival video, here you guys go. She runs. She's happy. I'm happy. The oil in it is a year old, but I changed it before parking it, so it only has like 20 miles on it, if that. So I will change that before I drive it really, but for just a warm up and revival, the oil is good enough. So it's got good fluid in it. It's a happy Jeep.